Hello and welcome to DOZ Show with Tererai Rebel. If you love stories and lessons, you'll love DOZ Show. DOZ Show inspires women to walk in their God-given purpose and fulfill destiny by providing them with amazing and inspirational stories of other women. On the show today, I will be sharing the story of an amazing woman, Dr. Tererai Trent, who is simply phenomenal. I'm sure you'll agree once you've heard her story. I'll also be sharing the leadership lessons gleaned from her journey. Please hit the subscribe button, like, and share, and don't go anywhere. So, Dr. Tererai Trent is a woman who has a very inspiring story. A few years ago, I heard about her journey and I just absolutely fell in love with this woman and fell in love with her story. Her story demonstrates what is possible when people have dreams and keep pursuing them, in spite of the opposition. Her story is one of tenacity and resilience. It proves that our goals are achievable if we don't give up. Dr. Trent was born and raised in a very small village in Zimbabwe. As a female child, she was not given an opportunity to go to school like the male children. She began to teach herself to read and write using her brother's books. And it wasn't long before she was helping her brother with his homework. She was later allowed to go to school, but not for long. And I think she was allowed to go to school because the brother had gone to school and made it known to the teacher that the sister was helping him with his homework. And the teacher thought if a child who isn't coming to school can help the child who's coming to school with his homework, then she should be allowed to come to school. So the teacher went home and had a word with her father, and for a while she was allowed to go to school. But then the opportunity was taken away. I'm not sure, but I think it had to do with economic reasons. So for financial reasons, perhaps the father couldn't afford the fees, and he decided to prioritize the brother's education. But she stopped going to school and she was given away in marriage at the age of 11. It was not the life that she wanted, and she was dissatisfied, as you can imagine. By the time she had her fifth child, she felt trapped, just like so many women, trapped in a marriage they never bargained for, a marriage they never wanted, but at a very young age, when they couldn't make a choice for themselves, they were placed in a marriage, and one child or two children, three children later, they look at their life and they think, oh, nothing can come out of this anymore. But let's keep listening to Dr. Tererai Trent's story. As I said, it's one that's very inspiring. So if you find yourself or you know someone who's in a similar situation, then I'm sure you'll get the inspiration that you need from this story and the lessons gleaned. So while she was in this marriage, like I said, by the time she had the fifth child, she felt trapped with no way of escape in sight. But one day she met an aid worker who asked her what her dreams were. when you look at your life and you think it's over and you have to take whatever it is that life throws at you, it can be funny when someone's asking you what your dreams are. So she met this aid worker who asked her what her dreams were, and although they seemed far-fetched, she was not afraid to voice them. And she said she wanted to go to America. It was part of the dream. She wanted to study up to doctorate level. Now, the woman assured young Tererai that if she believed in her dreams, then they were achievable. At that point, she wrote down her dreams on a piece of paper and put them in a tin can and buried them under a rock. It's interesting because when I think about that, what comes to mind is the Bible verse that says, write down the vision. When we write things down, it's so powerful. There's so much power in writing something down. So as far-fetched as her dreams looked at the time, she actually wrote the dreams down on a piece of paper, placed the piece of paper in a tin can, and buried it under a rock. Now, she then acted on that desire by enrolling in classes and studying towards her high school diploma. And this was against the wishes of her husband. But she studied. At night, she studied using candle, using a lamp, and she kept failing. Eventually, she passed and was accepted to study at a university in America. She arrived in the country of her dreams, but her struggle was very, very far from being over. This is a woman who's going to America to study and who's moving her entire family with her. She's got 5 children and she's got a husband. So while going to school, she worked 4 jobs and sometimes had to scavenge for food for her family from the dust bins of grocery stores. But she was determined to achieve her dreams. And there's something about a person who's determined to achieve their dreams. It comes to a point where life begins to cooperate with you instead of standing against you. So once you've been tested, once you've been tried and tested, then life begins to cooperate with you. So her determination to achieve her dreams would not let her stop. Then her husband became violent. Unfortunately, this is a story of so many women who are on a path to greatness. Husband became violent and began to hit her, and that led to the end of the marriage. He was arrested and he was deported to Zimbabwe. After completing her Ph.D, she decided to give back to that village in Zimbabwe where she came from and where she had buried her dreams all those years ago. At first, she was selling t-shirts to raise money to help the children in that locality. But at some point, so I think while she was doing that, her endeavor was brought to the attention of Oprah Winfrey, and she got a phone call inviting her to be on the Oprah Winfrey Show. I don't need to tell you what happened after that. That singular encounter changed her life and made it possible for her to have her new dream. So she had completed one dream. She had achieved her doctorate. Now she was dreaming a new dream, which was to give back. And through being on Oprah's show and with Oprah's donation, she got, I think, about 1.5 million to rebuild her childhood elementary school. And this led to her building 11 schools that provide education to over 6,000 children. Dr. Tererai's hard work, fierce determination, and belief in herself and her dreams have not only caused her to earn multiple degrees, but they have placed her on a global platform with world leaders as she continues to advocate for access to good education. She's president and founder of Tererai Trent International. Now let's look at the leadership lessons from the life of Dr. Tererai Trent. And lesson number 1 is that great women are dreamers. I absolutely love this. It costs you nothing to dream. I think a lot of people don't dream because they think, how will I achieve this? But forget about the how and just dream. Dream. Don't worry about the money. Don't worry about how it's going to happen. Just dream. The dream in and of itself costs nothing. Dream. And then once you have satisfied yourself with dreaming, then you can begin to think about how the dream will be achieved, how you will move from where you are to where it is that you want to be. But dream. So great women are dreamers, and our dreams determine how far we will go in life. The bigger our aspirations, the more impact they will have on us and in the world which we live. It's important to dream not just dreams that elevate you, but also dreams that elevate the world around you, that make the world around you a better place. So great women are dreamers. Leadership lesson number 2 is that great women believe in themselves and in their dreams. Dr. Tererai Trent believed in herself, and she believed in her dreams. It was that belief that made her, even when it seemed like life had handed her lemons, she was able to write down that dream on a piece of paper, put it in a tin can, and hide it somewhere or bury it somewhere. She believed in herself and she believed in her dream. It was for this reason that she kept going in spite of the opposition. Now, I said before that dreams are free. Yes, the dream in and of itself is free, but when you start to act on that dream, then it's no longer free. There will be a price to pay, and life will test you to see how far you're willing to go and how much it is that you're willing to sacrifice. No free lunch anywhere. If you believe in the dream that you have, then you must be willing to pursue it. So Dr. Tererai Trent believed, and she kept going in spite of the opposition. She knew she had it in her to achieve her dreams, come what may. Leadership lesson number 3 is that great women are prepared to sacrifice for their dreams. Dreams do not fall on our lap, unfortunately. We must work for them, and sometimes we must make sacrifices. Precisely what I said before. If your dreams are to become reality, then you must make sacrifices. Dr. Tererai Trent could not have had an easy life working 4 jobs and scavenging for food. And she was doing all of this while she was going to school. She had a large family. 5 children is no joke. So looking after 5 children and then going to school, I mean, a lot of women would have quit, and understandably so. But she kept going. When it was time to scavenge for food, when it was time to work 4 hours, whatever it was that she had to do, she kept going. And I believe that the reason why great women are prepared to sacrifice for their dreams is that they don't see the challenges. They see the end. They see that light at the end of the tunnel. That's what their eyes are set on. Because if you look at the challenges, the truth is, a lot of times you won't be willing to push through the opposition. But if you look at the light that's at the end of the tunnel, if you look at the finishing line, if you're a student and you envision yourself in that graduation gown, then yes, you will push through all of the obstacles. Leadership lesson number 4 is that great women give back. Now, it takes a great woman to comfort others when she has been comforted. There's too many people who, after they've been comforted, they sit and they enjoy everything that life has to offer them without thinking that they need to reach back and help someone else. It takes a great woman to do this. Once Dr. Tererai Trent got her dream, she dreamt another dream. And this dream had nothing to do with her. It was all about helping to elevate others. So it takes a great person to comfort others when they have been comforted. So as we move up in life, let's remember to reach back and help others. This is what great women do. Leadership lesson number 5 is that great women do not quit. It's okay to cry if you feel like it, because sometimes the challenges will be overwhelming and you will want to cry. So yes, if you want to cry, cry, have a nap, do whatever it is you want to do, but by no means quit. Get back in there and try again. Dr. Tererai Trent had opportunities to quit. She could have quit when it was challenging to keep 4 jobs and study at the same time. She could have quit when her husband began to beat her, but great women do not quit. They keep going until they achieve their goals. Leadership lesson number 6 is that great women are not afraid of challenges. Great men are not afraid of challenges. It's the reason why they do not quit. They understand that problems are part of life and that their dreams won't be delivered without opposition. Life will test you to see if you really want what it is that you're asking for and if you deserve it. Great women, this is leadership lesson number 7. Great women understand that if they don't like the life they have, they can change it. Too many people complain about the life that they have. If you don't like your life, you can change it. Dr. Tererai Trent changed her life. You can change yours. Leadership lesson number 8 is that great women are not afraid to follow the road less traveled. These women know that the path that leads to greatness is not one that is found or followed by many. They therefore refuse to do what others do. They refuse to follow the crowd. Dr. Tererai was not the only female child who was denied education or who was shipped off and married off at a young age. But she refused to settle for the life that she did not want. And unlike the other girls, she dreamt and she pursued her dreams. Going to school to the point of a Ph.D. was not standard practice for the women in her village. It was the road less traveled. She followed that road, and she did not allow the fact that women did not get doctoral degrees or women were not allowed to go to school. She did not allow that fact to deter her. Leadership lesson number 9 is that great women create the time to pursue their dreams. I said before that dreams will not fall into your laps. Dr. Tererai Trent was a wife. She was a mother of 5 children when she began to pursue her dreams. With a husband and 5 children to care for, really, she did not have the time to go to school. She had to create the time. Too many people say, I would love to do this, but I don't have the time. If it's important, if it's something that you envision changing your life, you will make the time for it. You will create the time for it. You have to be intentional about creating the time for the pursuit of your dreams. Leadership lesson number 10 is that great women know that determination, focus, and hard work eventually pay off. I'm going to say that again. Great women know that determination, focus, and hard work eventually pay off. I'm going to say that again. Great women know that determination, focus, and hard work eventually pay off. Just in case you didn't catch that. Determination, focus, and hard work eventually pay off. It may take 5 years, it may take 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, but determination, focus, and hard work eventually pay off. Dr. Tererai Trent was determined to go to school and get a Ph.D. She worked hard. While other women were probably sleeping after a hard day's work looking after the family, she was up with a lamp, with a candle, reading. And this was before she went to America. She worked hard. She allowed nothing to break her focus. She was determined. And eventually, her determination, her focus, and her hard work paid off, and now she's holding her dreams in her hands. Leadership lesson number 11 is that great women are lifelong learners and know the benefits of an education. And this doesn't have to be formal education, it can be informal. Even when they cannot access a formal education, they strive to educate themselves informally, for they know that no one arrives at the top in any field of endeavor without the required training. For every field of endeavor, there is the required training. You can't get to the top of any field of endeavor without going through the requisite training. Leadership lesson number 12 is that great women inspire others. Their story gives hope. Their story gives hope. Their story gives hope. And that's what I love about stories and leadership lessons. Their story gives hope and sends across a simple message. One that says, if I can, so can you. The story of Dr. Tererai Trent says to others that they can change their circumstances for the better. If you don't like the life that you have, change it. And before I round up leadership lessons from the life of Dr. Tererai Trent, I want to ask some soul-searching questions. So, what are your dreams? What are your dreams? As a child, what was it that you desired? Before people began to tell you that it was impossible, before people began to tell you that you could not achieve those things, what were the things that you dreamt of? Have you written them down? And what are you willing to sacrifice to obtain them? And so, ladies, we have come to the end of today's show. DOZ Show is back next week with another fantastic story and leadership lessons to inspire you to pursue your dreams. If you have enjoyed this episode, please remember to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you for listening. My name is Echiruvi Erebo, and this is your show, DOZ Show. See you next Thursday.